Alright guys, so this is a car that I really like personally, and I wanted to try my own attempt at making this car. Now, I didn't have any expensive materials whatsoever, so I just went with cardboard. And just any cardboard, honestly, like cereal boxes or anything, as long as it doesn't have those like ridges in it like thicker cardboard would have. That way you can make bends in your design, and it won't actually show any like bumps with the curve. It's really like bending a card. It's a very smooth surface. In the past, I've made this this Lamborghini Huracan front end. At least partly. It's not fully finished, but this one was a good test of my skill, and it was also a pretty simple model because a lot of the panels are very flat and don't have much of a curve on them. With the Aventador though, it has a lot more curves. We can see the hood is curved. There's just a lot of little pieces that curve on this. There is a lot of flat as well, but there's more curviness than the Huracan. So the process I do with this is I just kind of look at a picture like this one, for example. I can see very well and detailed all the panel lines and the shapes of each piece of the car. And what I did to start is I looked at the hood, and I was like, okay, in real life, this is one piece. But with cardboard, there's no way that I could possibly create this shape with one sheet. If I were to do it, it just wouldn't work. There would have to be some sort of overlapping pieces, and it wouldn't be great. So what I decided to do is I really saw some clear lines here of panel 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's exactly what I did here. And I also had the vent parts for these little vents right there. Now what I did is I just looked at the picture directly and just eyeballed it. And just by eyeballing it, without much skill, you could probably end up with a piece like this for this middle piece right here. This piece, the problem is it's overly based on the image and not as much on perspective of the image. It's really just looking at the image and copying like a 2D sort of interpretation of it. The real way to do it is to realize that the car is not like this. Rather, it's more in an angle like this. And it's also important to note that this panel is at an angle. So you have to take that into consideration. So really, this piece would have to be much longer vertically because it's not like this. It's more like this in the image, right? To fit the perspective of the vehicle. And now, if I look at this and I compare this bad piece I made to what I actually made, we can really see some differences in the model. Sorry about the shadow there. But yeah, we can really see that my piece is much longer, and it's actually wider as well than the piece I have made just for an example here. So it's really important to see these dimensions here be accurate, and also just, it's never going to be perfect, but just make it as good as possible, and most importantly, so that it fits with its neighboring parts. Because if you make each piece separately, they won't fit. So you have to start with one piece, and after that, everything needs to relate perfectly, or at least very close to that specific scale that you started with. Otherwise, it's gonna look very sort of like cheaply made because it doesn't align perfectly. Like here, this line fits, this line fits, this line fits, but then, oh, this is a mistake, right? This line is supposed to align with this one, and that is my mistake, but it's good enough, right? This one also doesn't align, but I just wasn't aware of that at the time, and I did it a little bit fast. But yeah, it's really just the art of close enough, and you just need to figure out the best way that you could possibly assemble this. And yeah, I would assume that afterwards you could almost just put a piece here, cut it out, and then draw its outline on a page. And you could almost copy the car and make multiple of these if you wanted to have them on your shelf or something. So it's a really cool project that gets you thinking. And it's like a Lego set or something that you're just making yourself. And really, once you make one of these, you really appreciate the dimensions, the shapes, and the curves of the car, and you really understand what the car is all about. So I think it's a really cool practice. It's just a fun little pastime, you know? So see you in the next video. And I will definitely keep you guys updated on the progress of this cardboard car. My plan is to paint it at some point and possibly even have an interior. So we shall see about that. See you guys in the next one.